on day 4 already. I am Megan, I'm a physical therapist, and I'm so excited to be bringing you the 4th day of our collaboration with Be in Union Yoga Studio. Today, we're going to be focusing on everything that your rotator cuff and your shoulders want you to know about your posture and your yoga practice. The shoulder is probably one of my most favorite joints to work on in physical therapy because it's one of the most complex joints in our body. It's a ball and socket joint that we primarily think of with our arm bone fitting into our shoulder. But it's not just that. It's the shoulder blade, the scapula, working its way to the arm bone. It's where our collarbone comes over to meet our shoulder, and then where our collarbone comes to meet our breastbone. And then there's a whole song about which bones connect to that. We won't go into singing. But the shoulder is very complicated and it's a lot of fun. There are 4 main rotator cuff muscles, so it's really great that this is day 4. Those 4 muscles come off of our shoulder blade, one on the top part, one on the bottom part. One is actually sandwiched in between our shoulder blade and our rib cage, and then the last also comes off the bottom of the shoulder blade. The rotator cuff acts to really keep stability in that ball and socket joint. So if you think of a big golf ball sitting on a small golf tee, those 4 rotator cuff muscles really do a lot to encapsulate and keep strength in that joint. We're going to be going today through some postural ideas and some different ways that you can utilize your strength in the shoulder. Quick movement through the shoulder is that our shoulders flex forward and then extend back down. Our shoulders come out to the side of overhead. They come back down from there. Our shoulders rotate externally and they rotate internally. And then lastly, our shoulders will come away from our body and then they'll come towards it. We can combine any of these motions to create different things. So ladies, we may or may not pandemic know about putting a bra on in the back here, or maybe washing our back or shampooing our hair. We combine a lot of our different motions, and our rotator cuff is typically the happiest when we can give good postural support. So today we're going to go through 2 yoga poses that really lend to create strength around your shoulder blades. And the first one is going to be with arms extended up overhead. We'll do this in Warrior One. So we'll set up the foundation of the feet in our Warrior One. Everything we've gone through so far this week in terms of having a dome in the feet, strength through the thighs and the knee, that's strength through the pelvis and the pelvic tilt. Now when we lift our arms up overhead for Warrior One, our rotator cuff is typically the happiest when it can see the hands. So we've kind of got a good peripheral vision of our hands up overhead. A very common thing to want to do is to kind of shrug the shoulders up towards the ears. So we'll think here about setting your shoulder blades back and down your spine, where our shoulder blades kind of move and groove on the ribs. Think about kind of plugging them down towards the spine, activating some of the muscles in our mid-back and our lower back. We'll take a nice deep breath here, using your exhale to depress or bring the shoulder blades down. And then we'll release the hands. Now a section, really great option for this, and another way that you can utilize your strength is to use the rotator cuff in this position here. We reviewed how your rotator cuff can externally rotate. How many times at the gym do you really see people working on this type of motion? This is a very fine motion that we can work up in here, and we can still see our hands. So if you feel strong in this position, we'll take another one nice deep breath here. And again, the shoulder blades are set back and down. And then we'll release. So those are 2 different variations of arm positions that you can take with some of your overhead positions, where one is not better than the other. Both of them can kind of utilize your strength in different ways, depending on how you have your arms extended in a long lever arm or your arms kind of bent in a shorter lever arm. Both are working your shoulders in really good strength, and both are great options. The second activity we'll do for the rotator cuff is the high to low plank as a part of chaturanga. And whether you do push-ups as a part of your regular strengthening routine, or you're working through some of those flows here at Be in Union, we're going to take it down to the ground. If you do have some props, they'll be very helpful in terms of 2 yoga blocks or textbooks or even small stuffed animals, something that can kind of give you a little bit of a visualization coming up to your shoulder height. The blocks work well if they're right along the L shape of your hand up towards your fingertips. As we're in that high plank position, being down on the knees is a great way to really focus on the strength in the shoulders. So if you're on your knees, your belly button is strong, tight towards your back, and your tailbone is down. Starting in that high plank position, a common way to move our shoulder blades may be to be kind of rounded. That's kind of like the angry cat position, or we may be kind of sunk in. Or again, using the strength of your shoulder blades, kind of wrapping around your mid-back and your ribs to really set them in a good, strong position. So you have strength through your arms. We'll take a breath in before we lower, slowly down to the shoulders meeting the blocks. Now slowly bending the elbows kind of scraping up against the sides. We're reaching down towards the blocks, and then pressing back up. We're going to do 5 of those high to low planks, just bringing the shoulders to these blocks so they don't go any lower than the elbows. Breathing in and out as we go. Keeping that alignment as you lower, that strength and that motor control to stop and to press back up. So we'll do one more high to low. And we'll rest. The reason why it's so important to go slowly with that high to low plank instead of kind of dipping down below that ball and socket joint, it has so many different freedoms of range of motion. We can do the wave when we can go to Red Sox games, and we can reach in a million different directions when we're multitasking. But that mobility we have as humans who walk on 2 legs and are able to move their arms a lot means we trade a little bit of stability in our shoulder. And where I run into the most trouble with patients is where you're putting too much pressure on the front of the shoulder. It can give a little bit of crankiness going down the arm and the rotator cuff. So limiting that range of motion to a nice controlled range and really relying on your postural stabilizers will help go a long way. Thanks for joining us for day 4 of our rotator cuff video. I can't wait to join you for our last day, day 5 tomorrow, where we're focusing on the neck and posture.